Voyager. Around the world without stopping or refueling. Imagine taking off from California, flying around the entire planet, and landing back in California. No intermediate landings, no aerial refueling, no stopping for gas. In December 1986, Dick Rutan and Jana Yeager did exactly that aboard an extraordinary experimental airplane called Voyager. Voyager was designed by Burt Rutan, Dick Rutan's brother, with one overriding objective: build an airplane efficient enough to fly around the world on the fuel it carries at takeoff. That created an enormous engineering problem. More fuel means more weight. More weight requires more lift. Producing more lift generally requires more energy, which means burning more fuel. Voyager attacked that problem by making almost everything except the fuel extraordinarily light. About 98% of its structure used lightweight composite materials, principally graphite fiber and paper honeycomb. The empty airframe weighed only about 939 pounds. But at the beginning of the record attempt, Voyager carried approximately 7,012 pounds of fuel in 17 tanks. Its gross takeoff weight was roughly 9,700 pounds. In other words, Voyager was essentially a giant flying fuel tank with just enough airplane wrapped around it to stay in the sky. On December 14, 1986, Rutan and Yeager began their attempt from Edwards Air Force Base, California. Even getting airborne was dramatic. Voyager was so heavily loaded that its takeoff roll lasted more than 2 minutes. Its extremely long wings flexed downward under the enormous fuel load, and the wingtips actually scraped along the runway, damaging their winglets. Voyager nevertheless climbed away and continued. For the next 9 days, Rutan and Yeager alternated between flying and trying to rest inside an extremely cramped cabin. Weather was a constant concern. Over the Pacific, meteorologists even guided Voyager near Typhoon Marge, allowing the aircraft to take advantage of favorable winds around the storm. Meanwhile, the pilots carefully managed their dwindling fuel supply. Voyager used 2 engines for takeoff and periods when additional power was necessary, but much of the journey was made using only the more efficient rear engine. The airplane crossed the Pacific, Asia, the Indian Ocean, Africa, and the Atlantic before returning across North America. Finally, on the morning of December 23, 1986, Voyager approached Edwards Air Force Base again. It landed 9 days, 3 minutes, and 44 seconds after leaving. Official distance, 24,986 miles. Average official speed, about 116 miles per hour. Stops, 0. In-flight refuelings, 0. Dick Rutan and Jana Yeager had completed the first non-stop, non-refueled flight around the world by an airplane. The achievement earned Rutan, Yeager, Burt Rutan, and crew chief Bruce Evans the Collier Trophy, one of aviation's most prestigious awards. Voyager demonstrated something we've encountered repeatedly in the history of experimental flight. Sometimes the breakthrough isn't producing more power. It's figuring out how to accomplish more with the power you already have. Human-powered aircraft did it with muscle. Solar aircraft did it with sunlight. And Voyager did it with extraordinarily careful engineering. And one enormous tank of gas divided among 17 fuel tanks.